Hello, I'm Sheila. Welcome along to this webinar, 5 steps to getting your career dream job. So I just want to spend a bit of time going through some steps because I want you to understand that it is possible for you to get your dream job. So this session is for ambitious women in corporate jobs, people who want to climb that career ladder and get to the top. And why not? Why shouldn't you? We need more women at the top of the leader tree. We need more women in CEO jobs. Because we need to be role models. We want to be making a difference to the future. We want to be having that bigger impact. And so my promise to you in this session is that I want to prove to you and show you and inspire you that you can get your dream job, whatever that is for you. So some of the big challenges I see with women when I work with them is that they suffer from imposter syndrome, that they feel that they lack the confidence that they need to be successful, and that you love your comfort zone. And so you get stuck there, sitting nicely, very comfortable and very safe. And what you really want, what your dream is to step up. You want to believe that you can get that top job. You want to make a bigger impact in the world, in your life, and of course earn more money. And that's not a dirty thing. It's okay to want more money, but it's not all about the money. A lot of it's about that impact that you're having and making a difference. And sometimes we just have to take a bit of a leap of faith. And this happened to me. It's happened a couple of times in my career, actually. But I just want to share with you, one time, some years ago, when I'm sitting in my job and it's really comfortable and it's okay and there's some nice people, but just it's a bit found it all a bit frustrating because I didn't really feel like I was making the impact that I wanted to. I used to work in the motor industry, so it's much more commercial. I worked for head office, but I kind of, even though I was making a difference to customers who had problems with their cars and resolving them, I didn't feel like I was making that big difference. And I wanted something to add value. So I was looking through the paper. That's how long ago it was. I got all the ink on my fingers when I was looking through, but I came across this job and it was in social housing, wanting somebody to set up a contact centre. Now, my customer service was my background; that's what I'd been working in. So this really interested me. So I had a look at it. I got excited. I looked down, see what they needed, and then, of course, that's when the imposter syndrome hits, isn't it? That's when you look at it, and I thought to myself, "Oh goodness, they wanted somebody who, with social housing background, which at the time I didn't even know what social housing was. They wanted somebody to set up a contact centre, which I'd never done, and they wanted somebody with a university degree, which I didn't have. So, I put it to one side. I was like, oh. Anyway, it was on my mind for the next few days, and I picked it up again, and I thought, you know what have I got to lose? And I just kind of felt that inner strength, that courage just to take that first step, and I applied for the job. And then I got an interview. Well, of course, once you've got an interview, you've got a chance. So scary, really scary. Turned up for this interview. It was pouring with rain outside. I'm sitting there shaking. I'm so nervous that I can't even hear the rain over my heart pounding away, thinking, what am I doing here? I don't know anything about it. What if I can't answer their questions? But, I'm here now. So, need to feel it. Just sort of, what's the word, just feel into it and go for it anyway and do your best. And they recognize that you're nervous. They certainly recognized I was nervous. I did a presentation to the 3 directors, which went really well. I answered their questions, and as I'm answering the questions, I'm getting more confident because I'm thinking, I know the answer to these questions. And it turned out that I might not be the expert in social housing, but I was the expert in customer service, and it went really well, and I got the job. And what I want you to understand is that sometimes we just have to take that leap of faith, and it's all about courage. We think it's about confidence, but it's not. It's about courage. It's about having the courage to take that first step, to make the decision, to just go for it. The confidence comes later. Courage isn't about knowing everything or being able to do anything. It's just about being brave enough to try something. So, what is it that's stopping you? Are you lacking courage? What do you feel it is that's stopping you? So let's have a look at these 5 steps that I want to share with you today. So these are 5 steps that will help you get your dream job, whatever that dream job is. Now, step 1 is all about clarity. Clarity really helps you get where you're going, because if you're not clear about what it is you want, then how can you take those first steps? And what happens is you muddle along, or in fact, probably you don't do anything. You just stay where you are because you're not really sure about what the next step is. So, in order to know where we're going, in order to go on that journey, we do need to go where we're going. And it can change. You can be clear about what you want now and you take the steps, and then it might move, and things change along the way. And it's always vital that we actually spend some time regularly to think about, what is the path that I'm on? Is it the right path for me? So I'd really encourage you to take some time, understand what your values are. What are your values? What are your priorities? Get to know yourself a little bit about what it is you actually want. Because we're so busy, aren't we, sometimes, that we just kind of go with the flow. We just go with whatever's happening, what feels like a good idea at the time. We don't often really sit down and really think about it. So take some time. What are your values? What are your priorities? What is it that's important to you? Think about your purpose. Again, it doesn't have to be a world-changing purpose, but just like, what is it that drives you? What are you passionate about? And then pulling all these things together, start to think about what that next direction might be. But it's really vital that you do this regularly, because, as I said, you might end up in the wrong job, or completely wrong sector, wrong industry, wrong direction. And it can be really hard to change if you do that. I had an opportunity once. Me and my husband, we went traveling. It was an amazing experience. But when we came back, we both started looking for jobs, and we were quite wide in where we were looking area-wise. And we just said, whoever gets the job first, that's where we'll move to. And I got the opportunity to go for a job in a London borough. And they were advertising 5 jobs at the time. And I applied for the job that was leading the contact centre, the customer service operations side of things. And when I got there, I had a really good interview. I really liked them. I think they really liked me. And then I got a call from the agency saying they really wanted to employ me, but they wanted to put me in the strategy job, the head of strategy job, rather than the operations job, because they felt that my experience, because although my experience was operational and customer facing, it had been quite small. So at that stage, I'd only managed a team of about 40, and this was a team of like 250 with like 4 different sites. But I sat there and thought about it. My husband put me under pressure to take the strategy job because we needed a job between us. One of us needed a job. But I was like, no, that's not me. That's not the right job for me. If I take that job, I'm not going to be happy in it. I'm going to struggle with it. I'm going to need a lot of support with it. So I spoke to the agency and then the company, and I explained to them that, I know it might be a bigger team, but actually I'll only be managing like 8 people, and, I won't be managing all 250. This is my area of expertise. This is what I'm passionate about. And I didn't want to get myself in the wrong job. And fortunately, they gave me the job. And you know what? I was great at that job, and they were really pleased with the work that I did. So it's really vital that and you've got the courage of your own conviction to go with what feels right for you and not what feels wrong. So get really clear on what it is, who you are, and what it is that you want. So are you clear on your next step? And if not, then find some time to think about it. Step 2. This is all about getting comfortable selling yourself. If you want to have a successful career and get your dream job, then you need to be able to sell yourself. And as women particularly, we don't like selling ourselves. We feel it's sleazy or arrogant. We feel a bit show-offy. But you have to get comfortable selling yourself, because that is how you will get your dream job. Just imagine it. Imagine there's your dream job and you're there. You've got an interview, but you don't do your best at selling yourself, and you let that opportunity pass. You've got to get comfortable at selling yourself. So some tips around this is to firstly gather your own evidence, keep records of your successes, of your outcomes, your achievements, keep records of it. So when you go to the interviews, the experience, you've got all these great examples, and then actually stop and notice it. Literally sit and stop, maybe every day, just sit and notice what a great job that you've done. All these things, these actual, the outcomes, look at the outcomes. What were the results that you've had? And tell yourself, sit and notice it really properly, like review, give yourself a review, a performance review, where you pat yourself on the back of all this great stuff that you've done. And then remember to claim it. You need to say, I achieved this, not we achieved this, because we use the word we far too much. Now, this isn't about claiming achievements that other people have done. This is about claiming your own achievements. I led the project. I overcome the obstacles. I supported my team. I delivered within budget and on time. I. You must get used to saying I. Now, one of the things to think about here is about being proud of yourself. So whenever you do something well, take a moment and really feel proud of yourself. Give yourself that pat on the back, give yourself a gold star, and actually realize how good you are and how proud you are of yourself. The more you do all of these things, the more you'll start to believe in yourself. And when you believe in yourself, then anything's possible, but certainly you'll get better at selling yourself. So how good are you at selling yourself? Okay, so step 3 is all about the courage. It's all about finding the courage. It's not about confidence. It really is about finding the courage, because confidence comes with practice. We're rarely confident at things when we first start them, but we don't mind giving them a try. And we're all different. Some of us, are really happy trying jumping out of a plane, and others are really nervous about going on a new walk around the woods. We're all different, and there's no wrong or right here. It's whatever's right for you. But just believe that you can achieve anything. You just have to find the courage to take that first step. And I promise you, when you take that first step and actually get going, it's never as scary as you thought it was going to be. Your thoughts make it much more scary than it actually is to do. So you have to find the courage. And the courage is what gets you started. So if you want to do something, decide. That is the first step. Decide that you're going to do it. And then take a small step, just one small step, and then another small step. Because it's those small steps that build up, and that's what builds your confidence, and that's what builds your courage. Try new things. Find small things to do. Just find something. Go with friends. Do it on your own, whatever. But just try new things, even if it's not related to your career. But just getting brave enough to try new things in any walk of life will help you realise that all these things are possible. And then you have to be prepared to move outside your comfort zone, because staying in your comfort zone doesn't help you. It will chain you to your job. It will chain you to the life that you've got at the moment. You have to be prepared to move outside your comfort zone. Remember, the comfort zone is a beautiful place, but nothing ever grows there. So you have to be prepared to do that. Step 4, this is all about learning to live with your imposter syndrome, because we all have imposter syndrome. We all live with it. We all feel it. Even the most successful people, even the people that we look at and see they're brilliant and they're confident, they all suffer from it. We all think, who am I to do this? Who am I to teach other people? Who am I to be a famous actor? They all feel it, everybody. So you are not out of the ordinary when you feel this imposter syndrome. You have to learn to live with it. And actually, if you're not feeling like an imposter, then you're likely sitting in your comfort zone, and that isn't going to get you anywhere. So we can't let the imposter syndrome hold us back. And often this becomes like a bit of a fear of success, the imposter syndrome. So sometimes this is what actually stops us. So I can give an example of a lady that I've been working with. She came to me for help with interview prep. She wasn't going to go for the job. It was a senior level job, and she wasn't going to go for it. But she kind of got encouraged to go for it by a friend and an agency. And in the end, she went for it. I helped her with the interview prep, and she got the job. But then it's like, oh my God, I've got this job. Now what? I'm not good enough to do this job. I haven't got the experience. I've never managed people before, and it's a senior leadership job. And she had a bit of a nightmare. And so then we worked together on that. We all feel it. And this actually does stop us. But like I say, so in your career, the fear of success is all about your imposter syndrome, because you sometimes don't go for the job, not because you don't think, not because you're scared of rejection, but actually you're scared that you'll get it. And then when you get it, you don't think you can do it. So we have to learn to live with this. And there's just some small things that we can do it, because, notice the imposter syndrome and then ignore it. So you kind of notice it, but don't dwell on it. Don't embrace it. Just notice it's there and go, I see you, Mr. Imposter, but it's not true what you're telling me. I'm going to ignore you because I believe in myself. And I know, even if I don't know everything, I'm going to do this. This is going to be fine. So notice it to start with. Call it out. Call it what it is. Notice it's just imposter syndrome. That's all it is. And it's not true. So you ignore it and move on. And then, look for your own expertise. Talk to other people, because they will tell you what your expertise is. You'll notice that people come to you about the same thing. And even though you feel that you're not the expert, they think you're the expert. So embrace that. Embrace your expertise. And then you really need to learn to love yourself, because this really knocks imposter syndrome off its pedestal. And we don't love ourselves enough. And I know that sounds a bit, airy fairy and a bit spiritual and all that, but actually we do need to love ourselves more. Because are you kind to yourself? Are you kind to yourself when things go wrong? Would you talk to other people? Would you talk to your best friend or your child the way you talk to yourself? I suspect not. So you need to learn to be kind to yourself. Forgive yourself for the things that don't go quite so well. Don't dwell on the little things that go wrong. They always go wrong. Look at the things that always go right. Notice all the things that go right. Notice all the happy moments in your life. Choose to notice the good things, not the bad things. And make sure you're looking after yourself. Make sure you're focusing on your well-being, on your self-care. Make sure you're getting good night's sleep. Make sure you're getting exercise and you're eating well enough. Make sure that you've got time for yourself. So all of this helps you love yourself more. And when you love yourself, then I promise you the magic starts to happen. And then you can start to learn, then you can start to grow and develop yourself. And the imposter syndrome will still be there, but it will just nudge its way to the background. So, these are really important things. And there are, I'm sure you do feel, I'm going to ask this question, do you feel like an imposter? You probably do at some point in your life, because we all do. But there are ways you can get over this, because we all have that feeling of I'm not good enough, I'm not smart enough, I'm not pretty enough, I'm not young enough, whatever it is. But there are frameworks that you can use to get over this and deal with your mindset. And I use the Better Mindset strategy that I've devised for my clients. And we go through all of these processes so that you can actually deal with getting rid of the imposter syndrome, learning to believe in yourself, sorting your mind out, mastering your mindset. And it all starts with beliefs. Because beliefs are all the stuff that we believe about ourselves, but they're absolutely not true. We need to just understand that our beliefs are just something we're telling ourselves. And you can flip these beliefs. You can start to believe something else, because your brain only knows what you tell it. So tell it something better. So we can do lots of work on this. I'm not going to go through this now, but just want you to know that this sort of framework does exist, and it can really help you start to believe in yourself. But I want to talk to you about the final step. The final step, which is the real secret to success, is to be more visible. If you want to be successful in any walk of life, you have to be known. You have to stop hiding, and you have to be more visible. Because when people know you, they'll know how good you are. They'll come and approach you for projects, for secondments, for jobs, for that dream job that you're aiming for. And there are some things that you need to be prepared to do to get more visible. And this is a problem for some of us women, because we don't like being visible. We hide. And I need you to stop hiding, and I need you to get out there and get known for it. So one of the things, whenever you find yourself in a situation, you need to speak up. Don't sit there being all quiet. Don't be scared to share your opinion. I've been there. You sit in that meeting and you're sitting there going, oh, I could say something about that. No, I'm not going to. It'll be stupid. I'll feel stupid. Maybe I'm not going to ask that question because it's a stupid question. Maybe I'm not going to share my opinion because I think I'm going to get shouted down. You mustn't do that. Whatever meeting, whatever situation you find yourself in, you need to speak up, because nobody will know who you are if you don't speak up. Now, it needs to be constructive. Don't be one of those people that's always arguing. It's not about arguing. It's about sharing your opinion. It's about sharing your experiences. It's about, sharing your ideas, but you need to speak up. And then you need to show up. If you're invited to a meeting, go to it. Invite yourself to meetings that you think are going to be relevant to you, the way you can add value to them, and then speak up. So you really need to be present. People need to know that you're there so that you can add value to something. And then get involved in anything and everything. If there's meetings going on about a project that you think you could add value to, then invite yourself along. If there's things going on around focus groups and strategy sessions to set the tone of the organization for the future, get involved in any projects that you can. Get involved in anything where you're going to be seen, where you're going to learn from it, where it adds value to you, where you add value to it, and people get to know you. Because without it, then nobody knows who you are, and you just sit there in your job waiting for opportunities to come to you, but you have to go to them. You have to go out there and create opportunities. They don't always come to you. And then the really scary thing that none of us like doing is networking. Networking is so important for a successful career. Now, networking is a long-term strategy. It's not going to change your career overnight. But I know people who have started at management level and become, chief execs purely by networking. They definitely weren't the best person for the job, but they knew people who knew people. They put themselves out there. They shared the things that they had done and their teams have done, and they have got to the top of their career by just knowing people. Now, men are much better at this than women, because we feel that it's rude to do that, because we're good at building relationships, but we don't capitalize on them. We need to be better at doing that. You need to be better at doing that. You need to get out there. Don't blame time, because time is only what you make it. You make it what's important to you. So stop thinking about your job and how loyal you are to that, and start thinking about your career and where it wants to go. Get out there to some suitable networking events where you're going to meet people that could help you get that dream job. And also, don't forget networking internally. Now this used to be a lot easier when we were all in the office all the time, but now you have to make a bit more of an effort. But there are still ways that you can do that. You can still join Zoom meetings and collaborate with people. You can approach other people and book a coffee with them, whether it's a virtual coffee or a real coffee. Find out what they know, learn from them. Don't be scared to do that. I mean, my career has been as successful as it is because of internal networking, because I got involved in anything and everything. I was always the person that was on some focus group or in the strategy session. And once you get known, they then come to you because they know that you're reliable. They know that you can add value to whatever project or process it is that they're doing. And I literally left school at 16. And I've only had a few jobs, but in each job I've worked my way, in each company I've worked my way up. So I might have had like 4 or 5 jobs in each company, and each time it's been a step up. And I probably wouldn't have got those jobs if I'd applied externally. But internally, because they get to know you, you don't need the same experience, you don't need the same qualifications. So don't underestimate the power of internal networking. Get out there talking to people, and stop hiding. That's the biggest secret. So what would your life look like if you could find the courage? How would your career be? What impact would that have on your life? Have a think about what it would look like if you could just find the courage to take that first step. And then I just want to ask you to have a think about it. What is the main thing holding you back? What is it you need to change in order to progress and get your dream job? And what would you have? What would your life look like if you did get that better job, if you got that dream job? Imagine it, and then hopefully that will drive you to take action. Now, if I can help with any of that, then let's have a chat. I always offer 30 minutes free coaching for anybody that needs it anyway. You can go onto my website. There's lots of free resources on my website for interviews, for being more visible, for being more confident. So have a look at it. But I'd love to have a chat with you. So just book on my website and book in Let's Have a Chat. Because remember that you have to take action. Anything is possible. But nothing changes if you don't take action. It doesn't matter how many webinars you go to. It doesn't matter how much you learn or how many books you read. The knowledge is great, but knowledge is useless without action. You have to take action. So decide what action you are going to take. And I wish you the very best of luck.